Witcher 4 just revealed some exciting new details about the upcoming game. CDPR released a new behind the scenes video that gave us a ton of information about how the trailer was made. We also got another look at Ciri that has once again sparked the discussion surrounding her character model. Additionally, CDPR dropped a deep dive on all things Witcher 4 during the most recent episode of the Answered podcast. So we're going to talk about all of those details and more. We have a lot to discuss, so check the video chapters for easy viewing. Also, I'm giving away a PlayStation 5 at 175k subs. To enter, it's super easy. Check the pinned comment for those details, and let's get into it. So as I mentioned in the intro, recently CDPR dropped a brand new behind the scenes video on how they made the Witcher 4 trailer that was done in collaboration with Plattige, who is known for their cinematics. Yeah, so in that behind the scenes video, we got another look at Ciri, which that alone sparked a bunch of controversy because a lot of people are saying that due to the backlash about Ciri being the protagonist, CDPR updated the character model, which is not the case at all. And this is coming from CDPR themselves. Sebastian Kalimba, the game director, had this to say on social. He said, "The behind the scenes video features the same in-game model of Ciri as seen in the original trailer. We have not modified it. What you're seeing is raw footage without facial animation, lighting, or virtual camera lenses. While it's still an engine, it represents a work in progress snapshot taken before we applied cinematic touches for the purpose of that video. This variation is a natural part of the game development process. At this point, any character's appearance may vary depending on the medium, whether it's in a trailer, a 3D model, or in-game." So there you have it. We got 100% confirmation that the Ciri that we saw in the behind the scenes video was the same Ciri from the trailer. They just had cinematic effects. There was also facial animations. There was a focal length difference, which is exactly what we all thought whenever the first trailer dropped. Like, it was clearly a different angle. There was animation. And as Sebastian said, the character's appearance may vary depending on the medium, whether it's in a trailer, a 3D model, or in-game. So the exact look of Ciri in the trailer is not going to be the exact same one in-game. Like, once we get the gameplay, it'll probably look a bit different. Now, I do want to mention one thing that was in the comments of that thread. Someone said, "Thank you for clearing it up. Are you considering using similar effects or in-game cinematics, or will it be done in a more traditional way?" To which Sebastian Kalimba said, "We'll nail it." So he didn't really confirm or deny it. My guess is it'll look similar to what we got from the trailer, probably a bit different though. Either way, it seems like everyone's happy, right? Like, Ciri's character model was quote unquote updated and she looks better now, right? So surely that should be the end of the controversy, right? There's not going to be anything else that's like manufactured that pops up, right? Unfortunately, I don't think we're going to get that lucky. I'm sure that this is only the beginning, and as we get closer to launch, maybe the craziness will continue. Hard saying. Either way, Ciri looked amazing in the original trailer with all of the cinematic look and the facial animations, and she looks amazing just as good in the 3D model. So this brings us to new information we got from the Answered podcast, where the developers at CDPR, as well as I believe some developers over at Plattige, they sat down and discussed the 3D trailer. They talked about Ciri, they talked about the Unreal Engine 5, and so much more. So let's just go ahead and dive into those details from the Answered podcast. Now, this is a discussion that started off by talking about Ciri, about how she relates to Mione, the girl from the trailer. So one of the developers had this to say, "Yeah, it's perfect because the word that combines them is destiny. They're destined for something, and Ciri has always been the child of destiny. She was either supposed to become an empress or to become a witcher, or she could become anything else. But someone always wanted something from her and kind of pulling her in different directions." They then said, "And what I love about this is the fact that with her, we get to talk about her and her choosing her own path, which is super important for us. And when we talk about Geralt, for example, well, his past was laid before him a long time ago when he became a Witcher for the first time, and he retired with Blood and Wine, which makes total sense for us to move and have Ciri as the protagonist. Because like you said, the books have always centered around her because she is a super important character. She is kind of like the key that everybody wants because it lets them unlock either unlimited power or control or whatever." And then they said, "And here it's really cool that we get to show her story from a different direction than we normally do. Yes, there is an interesting line when Ciri tells the villager, 'You chose her.' It's not destiny, it's the people who make choices, so it's all about destiny, but also the future you could provide for yourself and for others. And yes, Ciri is fighting for that girl." They then said that she was also a subject of people trying to choose for her for multiple reasons. So even in the books, I would say, you know, Geralt is a protagonist in a sense, and like Ciri is a hero. The developer said, "So the story centers around her, but Geralt is the moving part, you know, he gets the plot going. But the hero is centered around her, so that's very cool to have her now. She's been through a lot, the emotional damage for sure that happened throughout her life, the story with the the rats, and then also what happened with Boneheart, which left a scar on her. And the dev said, I'm not even talking about Amir and kind of the whole Nilfgaardian Empire wanting her and all of that. And she's always on the run, always trying to find her place, never really fitting into any place. And the dev then concluded by saying, so actually now with her saying I will do my own thing is really, really cool. Liberating for sure for the character. And like, yeah, she's resonating with Mione. Like the line you said, you chose her, you know, there's an immediate parallel. People are choosing for this young girl, and Ciri went through that multiple times. So it kind of gave us an insight about, you know, Ciri's entire journey. It's always been intertwined with the concept of destiny. And what makes her story the most compelling in the new game is the fact that she gets to choose her destiny in this one. It's not just really about escaping the forces that seek to use her, but it's rather about her carving out her own identity and purpose. Much like the young girl that she chooses to fight for, you immediately see the parallels between Ciri and the people she chooses to protect, reinforce the themes that choice rather than destiny are ultimately what defines one's future. So as we move forward with the next game, it basically tells us that her journey becomes more than just, you know, her survival, but it really is going to be a statement of freedom. And the fact that we can extract that just from a trailer that we got, like a cinematic trailer, tells me the choice really will matter. Like in The Witcher 4, we're not just going through a predetermined outcome. The choices that we make in game will define Ciri's future. Like all of that choice kind of has me thinking that, like, what if they implement a similar like life path system in The Witcher 4? So they use the various endings of The Witcher 3 and then have those distinct life paths for the next game. So if you chose the Empress ending, you start the game as an Empress, and then another one that's like the Witcher path, which, you know, there's the Witcheress ending. So you start the game that way, but then eventually you get to see Ciri go through her journey of becoming a fully fledged Witcher. Like we know she does the Trial of the Grasses, and we know that they're likely going to show that. So starting the next game with how you ended The Witcher 3 would be really awesome to see. Like I would love for that to happen. And again, our choices in this game will have further effects on the future of The Witcher with Ciri as the protagonist. Like this would allow them to do so many cool things with storytelling and replayability as well. It'd be really cool if that's what they planned this entire time, but who knows? It's hard saying. The discussion then turned to the Unreal Engine 5 during the podcast, and we actually got some pretty interesting tidbits from that. So they actually talked about how Plattige was actually able to go into a fully built world that CDPR provided for them, and they were able to pick locations to shoot for the trailer, more specifically Stromford. The developer said this, and I quote, "What I really loved is that you had the possibility to really like go into Stromford and see it for yourself and actually choose the places in which we want the action of the trailer to happen," which that tells us that CDPR had already built the village of Stromford in game before Plattige actually started working on the trailer. So instead of them creating environments from scratch, Plattige was able to just go into the world of The Witcher 4 and select locations for the trailer. So like rather than having to explore real world locations, they were able to explore Stromford like virtually and decide like what is the best stage for the scenes. And then it was also confirmed that CDPR provided them with 60 unique villagers. Plattige is not the one who modeled them, which that confirms that the game's assets, including NPCs, were already developed before Plattige actually worked on the trailer. So instead of having to manually create every character, CDPR basically just gave Plattige the assets to fill the village with. And that brings us to the next section where Plattige actually worked on the trailer for months, which that implies that CDPR had a game ready world and assets by around August. And by game ready world, I'm guessing they just had Stromford done, but let's be honest, like if they had that done by August 2023, I'm sure they already have a lot of the game world already mapped out. And the next part of this that I want to talk about is the Unreal Engine 5 aspect, and Sebastian Kalemba actually spoke on their decision to go to the Unreal Engine 5, and he actually specifically talked about how it wasn't just a challenge for Plattige, but it was also a challenge for them. He said, "What I actually love the most about this choice, because as you said, it was challenging not only for you, but also us for picking Unreal Engine 5. And then he said, but honestly, in the end, that was the choice." So that tells me that they are extremely confident in their version of the Unreal Engine 5. Obviously, we know that it's a custom version specifically tailored for CDPR to use for their games. It's not like it's just like a basic Unreal Engine 5 build that is fully custom for CDPR. But yeah, if you guys haven't watched the behind the scenes video or the Answered podcast, I strongly recommend it. They're both insanely good watches. I'm curious to hear what your take is on the whole Ciri controversy. Do you think it's a non-issue at this point? Are you happy with Ciri's look? Let me know down in the comment section. Hit the like button if you enjoyed this video, subscribe with your noties on, and until next time, this has been Wes, and I'll talk to you guys in the next video.